Like it or not, the future of search is not traditional SEO. It's just not. In fact, the current state of search is not traditional SEO, and it's only going to get worse. What is it? It's AI. AI chatbots are going to be the future. According to a recent survey, 42% of people surveyed, and these are professionals, believe that they're going to use chatbots for web searches moving forward. And only 24% of people in this survey said that it was going to be traditional search engines. So if you've been dumping a lot of money, time, and resources into traditional SEO, you're going to want to watch this video because I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on, what the differences are between AI search and traditional Google SEO search, and I'm going to give you 6 tips to optimize your content on your website for AI SEO, which is really the new kind of SEO that you need to have your brain on right now. So let's dig into it. The first thing you'll be happy to know is that all that work that you've done on traditional SEO over the years is not all for naught, because expertise still matters, because authority still matters. All the keyword optimization and the domain reputation and the backlinking and those things that you've been doing over the years, they are still extremely relevant. But there are some huge changes in the way that we actually create, structure, and word our content that are going to really change the way that we want to think about doing this. So how are these two things different? AI search, Google search, or Bing search, or regular traditional search? How are they different? The biggest way to think about the difference comes down to context and user intent. So let's say that somebody puts a query into Google that says something like, how does dopamine affect motivation? Traditional SEO is going to rank pages based on specific keywords. So they're going to look at these keywords, dopamine, motivation, and they're going to look to rank pages based on those 2 keywords. But when an AI search chatbot is looking at this, it's looking much more for context and user intent because it's able to sort of get inside the mind of the person that's asking. And so it's going to try to provide the most relevant answer possible, not just look for keywords. Much more advanced. It wants to know the relationship between these keywords so that it can actually answer the question. So we have to go beyond keyword optimization, because when somebody puts that search in, how dopamine affects motivation, the AI search engine, like ChatGPT, has a lot more going on to analyze what that query is besides just looking for keywords. It interprets that search query holistically, and it looks for context. What are you really asking? What do you really want to know the answer to? And then, of course, in a split second, the AI understands that this person that put this in is looking for the relationship between dopamine and motivation specifically. And so it's going to think about that and try to answer that question, like you would if somebody asked you a question, whereas traditional Google search would look for keyword signals to show the relevant content. This is a very big change because you really have to go beyond keywords here, and you have to really get inside the mind of your target customer. You can't just think about what they're searching for, but you have to think about what's on their mind when they're searching for it. What is the relationship between the keywords? And what's the problem they're trying to solve? Really just business 101 type stuff, honestly. So now let's get into these 6 key things that you can do to start optimizing for this. And these are so important. Make sure to write these down and get these going, because there's a really good chance that you have never heard about this or researched it before. It is all brand new information. And by watching this video, you're ahead of the game. Number 1, AI search engines favor comprehensive content because obviously they're looking at context. So if there's a question, a query from a user, they're going to want a specific answer to that question. And the purpose of any search engine has always been relevancy. How do I show the most relevant answer? The technology was not mature enough to be able to sort of empathize or sympathize with the user's context, where they were coming from. But now with AI, they can. So what AI is going to look for out there when it's surfing around looking for links is it's going to look for really comprehensive answers that will specifically be relevant and not do a bad job at answering the questions. It's going to look at all the text of your articles to see, hey, does this answer the question that the user asked? Now, this is well beyond what traditional search engines have done, which is just look for keyword signals. Now it can actually look at an entire article, and in a split second, it will be able to know if it's actually answering this person's question as they intended or not. So you want to be comprehensive. Number 2, write in a conversational tone. This is something that I have always been in favor of in blogs, but it's really, really important now because AI search engines understand natural language better. So you want to make sure to write in a tone that doesn't feel like a term paper. This is definitely not something right now that AI is going to be able to do for you very well. I think you've noticed if you tried to write blogs through AI that it's a great first draft, but it definitely almost always needs to be cleaned up to be conversational, even if that's been part of the prompt. You need to write like you speak. That's the biggest thing. I always used to say, does it pass the dive bar test? Meaning, would you say it this way in a dive bar with a friend? If not, then you probably shouldn't write it that way in the content. Number 3, focus on satisfying user intent. So you have to go beyond keywords again and think if someone searches for how dopamine affects motivation, you have to make sure that that content that you create provides an in-depth answer to that topic, because the AI is going to scan that and make a decision, hey, does this answer that question, instead of does this have the relevant keywords that this person searched for? It's very, very different. You have to structure your content to answer common questions directly. So a good first step might be making a list of all the common questions that your customers have about basic things with the problem that you solve for them, and then answering them directly in content on your site in a very comprehensive way and a conversational manner. Number 4 is implementing structured data like schema markups. This feels a little bit technical, I know, but if you've been in SEO for a while, you know what schema is. Basically, it helps search engines understand what your website is about and what you want to rank for, which is very, very important. Number 5, include videos, infographics, images, and don't forget to put meta descriptions on them. AI search engines analyze visual content to look for context to see, is this relevant? Is this helping the story that I'm telling to answer the question of the user? Relevancy. Number 6 is you have to get even more focused on featured snippets. If you don't know what a featured snippet is, you've seen it. It's that position 0. So when you search for something, there's a snippet that is generated at the top from the best search result that Google has felt answers the question the best, and it'll put that right up there on the search results page. And that very often is what we're looking at when we're trying to figure out, hey, what's the answer to my question? And then that's linked to a source. AI search engines go here first to take a look at how they can best answer this user's question. So here's some tips to show up as a featured snippet, or that coveted position 0. You want to start your content with a clear what is heading. There's a lot of featured snippets that start that way, and it makes it really clear. So for example, you're writing how to boost metabolism, you might consider a heading like what is metabolism. It doesn't necessarily have to be the headline, but it can be one of the subheadings. And then you want to make sure to organize everything underneath, because AI search engines, just like traditional search engines, love well-structured content. This is a big one too. Featured snippets really prioritize objective information. So the more branded your stuff sounds, the more personalized it sounds, the more bias that it sounds in any specific way, that's going to force AI search engines to start looking the other way. Because remember, you can't sneak things by it anymore, because AI search engines are going to be able to look at it and analyze it in a way similar to a human would. And they might say, oh, this feels a little salesy or a little bit too brand-centric. It's not neutral enough. This might not be the best information to share because it might not be reliable. This could be biased content. Let me move on to the next article and see if I can surface from there. So you want to leave promotional language out of this if you want to have the best chance of relevancy getting in that position 0. If this helped you, a like and subscribe goes a long way to helping us grow and reach more business owners. And don't forget to get a free copy of my book. There's a link in the description. Always happy to invite people into my community. All right, have a great day. We'll see you in the next video.